Good morning, everybody. Hope you guys are doing excellent. We have a very special guest today, and we're in our first Volkswagen 360-degree test drive video. Nick, introduce yourself. Who are you? What are we in today?
I'm Nick Gallagher. I work at Humberview Volkswagen as product delivery specialist. We are in a 2020 Volkswagen Tiguan IQ.
Excellent. Okay, and we're going to get into all the details, but before we get started here, just a quick reminder, it's a 360 video. So if you're watching this on your phone, you can swipe around, you can move any direction possible. We'll do a bunch of cool shots. And if you are on your desktop, you can actually click and hold and drag. So I'm going to fill a little bit of space here while Nick emerges onto the highway, but our first ever Volkswagen review. So Nick, how long have you been at the Volkswagen dealership? You love the brand, right? Tell us a little bit about the brand and kind of what car we're in today.
Well, I sold cars for a year, a couple years back in 2014 for a full year, and left the business for a couple of years. Went down and worked for Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, driving a Zamboni down at Regal Coliseum, and decided that, you know what, I think I like the car industry and I miss it a little bit. So I've been back as a product delivery specialist for the last 3 years. And yeah, it's, I mean, the product's done very well. The Tiguan in particular has done extremely well. It's a top seller in the last couple of years after they relaunched the new model in 2018.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's talk about that for a sec. I had a customer who was cross-shopping me with a GM. Did the Tiguan get smaller or bigger from that 2018?
Definitely got bigger, especially cargo space, and that was one of the big complaints with the previous model, is that the trunk was a little bit small for an SUV.
Yeah.
The trunks and the cargo space is much bigger than it was before. You could fit your golf clubs and all your sporting gear in there, no problem. Before it was a little bit more of a challenge.
Way bigger. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's interesting though. Like, and correct me if I'm wrong. There's no SUV below the Tiguan in terms of size.
Not currently, not right now. I believe they're working on one that should be coming out in the next year or two. But
cool.
Right now, the Tiguan would be the smallest SUV in the VW lineup.
Cool. So it's a 5-seater.
Yep. Or you can get the option of a 7-seater as well.
Really?
This one actually is a 7-seater.
No kidding.
Just that the third row is folded down there.
So is that what the IQ stands for? Is that
No. The IQ is just a specific model. Now we're just one under the High Line.
Cool.
Right? So the High Line's the highest trim level, and you can get an R Line package with the High Line. That's pretty much the fully loaded High Line. This is one underneath it. The IQ gives you a bigger screen size, right? We get the 8-inch screen, the two-tone leatherette here.
Awesome.
Right? So this is a Wizard Blue and a Titan Black leatherette.
Good
It just gives you a little bit of badging around the vehicle as well. The engines are all the same in the entry level to the fully loaded.
Cool, that's awesome. So if you care about powertrain and kind of what you're driving, can I quiz you? Pop quiz. What's the specs of the engine? Is it a turbo?
It is a 2.0 turbo.
Awesome.
221 horsepower.
Oh, that's pretty generous.
184 pounds of torque.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Especially if you're, like you're saying, on the entry model, you get the engine right away.
Absolutely. And then you've got your different driving modes here as well, right? So you can, if you want to save a little bit of power, you can go down to eco mode. You get a little bit less power, but more fuel savings.
Cool.
You can get the sport mode where we're reverse, where you're revving the RPMs a little higher and get a little more kick off the line.
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool.
Pick up off the line.
Yeah, it's definitely a good looking car on the outside, and it's interesting too. Like, you tell me if I'm wrong here, but obviously the SUV segment crossover is growing and growing. I know Volkswagen. You think Volkswagen's notorious for the Beetle and the Jetta, right? Or the Golf, right?
Yeah.
But I'm sure Tiguan. This is probably a pretty good representation of your sales now.
Absolutely. I think I don't know our exact figures and how many Tiguans we sold over the last 2 years, but as a delivery guy, I deliver Tiguans all day long.
Yeah.
There was a period there where if there was 10 cars going out in a day, 7 of them are brand new Tiguans.
Wow.
So they've done very well. They're definitely been our top seller in the last 2 years.
No kidding. Cool. So I'm just going to play around with the infotainment here. Is there anything special? Is there anything kind of unique about it? Or
I like the responsiveness of the system now.
It's pretty fast.
It's really fast. Yeah, there's certain things in there that are really cool. I mean, you can set your clock so you never have to touch it again, type thing, right? Yep. Because it's feeding off of the GPS navigation.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's going to track all of your driving.
That is pretty neat.
Yeah.
I didn't know that it did that. Not many vehicles will have. Obviously, they'll have the screen on between the clusters, right?
But, yeah. So they've given you the opportunity to on the main screen here to go through all of your driving info, and since your start and extended period, and it's basically tracking everything you're doing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
No, we were talking about this.
Yeah.
The
Just
screen here.
tracking all of our driving.
So since refuel, since start, so you're getting your fuel economy, you're getting the total amount of kilometers on the car. That's a great feature to have.
For sure. Absolutely.
Especially since, it's normally on that.
Right at your fingertips.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. And I find it too, like, I don't want to say it's cumbersome, but on most vehicles, when you're kind of playing around the menus with the steering wheel controls, I feel like there's a lot of digging that you have to do with the menus.
Yeah.
This one, not so much. It's just right here.
They've set up the multifunction steering wheel pretty well here as well. So the silver keys here on the right side, that's going to scroll me through my main menu of my MFI screen, my multifunction screen here. And it's pretty simple. You're just scrolling through all your main menu options. So if I want to go to driving data, for instance, and scroll through my driving data, I'll now use the up and down arrow keys. So that's basically, this is going to be a little bit of a compressed version of what we're seeing here. We're just going to go through all of our economy, our oil temperature, our speed. We could set up a speed warning if we wanted to, travel time, distance, and most importantly, our fuel range.
Fuel economy, I feel like that's the one I normally have it on, right?
Yeah, of course. Everyone always wants to know how many kilometers before they got to get to the gas.
Yeah, am I doing a good job?
Right.
Let's talk about the speakers. In terms of the audio in this car, the higher level Tiguan's, what kind of sound system?
Well, this is six speakers sound system from the factory.
Cool.
It's pretty decent. When you get to the High line and specifically to the R line package, you get the opportunity to get the Fender sound system, which is an upgraded sound system.
Cool.
Comes with the subwoofer as well, and that would be an 8-speaker system. It sounds great with the subwoofer, especially getting the back end there, the low end. But even just with the standard 6-speaker system that comes in this, it's actually, I've got one in my Jetta as well, and I have no complaints about the sound system at all.
Awesome. And let's talk about leasing or financing. Is this a car that you're probably going to finance, or most of your business is coming into lease?
I mean, I guess it always depends on the individual, right, and what your needs are. Certain people like to keep cars for 7 to 10 years, so financing probably be the best option for them. I'm a big lease advocate after working in the business for quite a few years, and the reason I say that is because I just like to be protected by warranty. Right?
Absolutely.
So I've basically dedicated a monthly payment always, but that monthly payment's covering peace of mind as well. Right?
Yeah,
I never really have to worry about warranty or anything like that when it comes to a vehicle.
Your warranty, and the other thing too, God forbid, this is something that is not really talked about because it's a bit morbid, but if you do get in an accident in a lease, you're far better off, right?
Correct. Yes.
Versus the finance, you own that car. Worst case scenario, it happens in a lease. You get in a little fender bender. It's all good. You return the car at the end. Of course, you're gonna pay a little bit for the fixing the car under insurance, but you're probably a little bit farther ahead. So that's usually a little hidden benefit.
Yeah.
I'm just going to play around here. So we've played around with the menu. Are you kidding me? This is a CD player?
Yeah, CD player. They put it in the glove box. Yeah.
Were you going to hide that from us?
Yeah. Well, eventually they're getting rid of it completely, and they've already started to. But
wow.
It started here on the main console, and then it's moved over to the glove box, and eventually it'll be out the door.
No kidding. Wow. So it's funny. Last week we were in a QX, I think a QX50, and it did have a CD player, and I was impressed. So this one too, we're 2 for 2.
Absolutely. That's actually got 2 SD card slots in there, and the SD card slot, that chip is for the navigation. That's
awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Unplug the nav. So let's just see how quickly it turns back on.
Yeah.
So plenty of space back here, I guess. Like you mentioned, so this one can seat 7.
Yep.
Is this a whole complete panoramic?
Yeah. Pretty much. Like, I mean, you can open the roof halfway, right?
Cool.
So, I can't do that with the camera here.
With the camera, unless the camera wants to go for a ride.
But the actual roof opens halfway.
Wow, that's pretty sweet.
Right. And there's a couple of cool things. Just getting on to the push button start. It's Kessie keyless system is what they call that for Volkswagen.
Okay.
And a couple of cool things with Kessie is, number one, you can't lock the key in the vehicle, which is a great feature. But number 2, if the sunroof is open and the windows are down and you leave the vehicle and you forgot to close them, you don't even have to get back in the vehicle to close them all. And I can show you a little demo of that when we get back to the dealership.
Yeah, that'll be really cool.
Yeah, people get usually pretty excited over those little features.
Cool, yeah, it's those little things you'll never find on the sell sheet, right?
That's right.
That's a fun reason we like doing these little drives. It's never something you'll see in a pound for pound comparison.
Right.
Cool. In terms of other quirks that the car has, is there any other features or specific reasons you're buying the Tiguan over maybe the competition?
I don't know about quirks or specific things. I know that I truly believe that when they redesigned this vehicle, it really took off, and that's the reason for its success, mainly because of the size of it. It went from premium fuel to regular fuel, which is
Especially for a turbo, that's
for a turbo. So it's got a 60-liter engine, and it's great on gas. So I think that's the reason for the success is the size difference. I mean, and so much more car, right?
Yeah, definitely. It feels pretty big for a 5-seater. I'm still pretty impressed. Like the
Yeah.
amount of trunk space. Like
Yeah.
I haven't been in one since I guess the 2018 redesign.
Right.
I guess popular option here too. We'll talk about that again is really tough to get on paper, but safety features. Are there any particulars we could talk about, or Volkswagen does very well?
Well, I really like their intelligent crash response system,
Okay.
and what that is that if you did by chance get into an accident, the vehicle would do a couple of really cool things to keep you as safe as possible. So if the airbags went off in case of a collision, a couple of things would happen. Your doors would automatically unlock so that someone can get in your vehicle right away.
Cool.
The battery terminal is disabled. They cut the fuel supply. The fuel supply is cut. The hazards go on right away.
Cool.
It's a very safe vehicle, so it's got a really good response if something, if the airbags were to go off.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
And obviously a little perk here, but I see dual climate.
Dual zone climate control as well. Yeah. So we can adjust your temperature so that you can have it a little warmer than my side. We use the sync button, always syncs to driver's side.
Cool.
And we've got the automatic climate control function as well. You can just press auto and increase or decrease in temperatures this way. As soon as we touch the fan speed, the automatic function will come off.
Awesome. I must be killing it. I turned it down, not because I'm trying to control it, but I just want to make sure the mic is going to pick up everything.
Oh, yeah. No,
You're-
and it's fine.
You're in a nice suit today.
Temperature's good.
Cool, that definitely works. So you know what we'll do? We'll put the camera out the window. We'll do
Okay.
some extra fun shots, and
Cool.
we'll clip it any which way. But
Cool.
absolutely. So if anybody needs to reach you, if they're interested in test driving a Volkswagen from you or somebody at the dealership, how can they get in touch with you or maybe learn a little bit more?
Well, you can always call the dealership. You can call me directly at 416-201-6691. Or you can email me at ngallagher@humberview.com. That's N as in Nick, GALLAGHER @humberview.com.